Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We talked a few weeks ago in a video on how hard it's been to be here in Georgia and also trying to get the property in Tennessee ready for my in-laws house to be built. There's just so much to do up there. Even just keeping the pasture mowed and brush hogged has been a chore. I've got the Ford 3000 up there with a brush hog on it, but the hydraulic steering went out and broke, so I have to fix that, which is fine, can totally fix it. But there's just so much to do here. We moved the rabbits over this summer here at the property in Georgia. We're trying to help get this house ready to sell at some point in the next year or so, and just a lot going on. And so it's been hard to film, it's been hard to bring you alongside for some projects. But what I'm hoping to do is all that to change. So one of the things that Monique and I, my wife, decided to do is we're going to move our camper back to Tennessee. It's in Georgia right now. We're going to move that camper back to Tennessee, put it underneath the barn, and start working more on getting the alleyway done for the power to come in so that we can power the camper. Right now I'll run it off of a generator when I'm up there. But there's been no way to easily just stay up there. It just gets expensive. And we have a camper, so let's just go ahead and move that back up there where it was, and I can go back and forth. The other thing we're doing is we have a shipping container set up to be delivered up there. We have 3 storage units right now here in Georgia from a lot of stuff and tools from our old house when we sold it last year. So we're going to be getting that up there. And so my plan is, my wife and I, we want to make sure that when we're clearing land up there, we're doing it in a way that's not going to have long-term effects on the land and the soil and all that stuff. So I've decided, instead of hire somebody with a bulldozer and an excavator real quick and get it done up there, that we're going to do it ourselves with a tractor and chainsaws. So what you'll see over the next 8, 9, maybe even a year is clearing for the power to come to the barn that's been built. You've seen a video of that. And then also see me take a tree puller, a box blade, a backhoe, and a tractor, and a couple of tractors, and just clear a road and clear a spot for our house. The plan right now is, what we're hoping to do is build like a 30 by 40 metal building probably, and build that in a way that we can use that as a workshop, and then build a shed to house conversion, whether we buy a shell of a shed and do it that way, or we build the shed in place while we're up there. We might end up doing that. I'm not sure. So I kind of want to tell this video is I want to kind of show the equipment that I'm going to be using while I'm doing this, and give you a really good idea of what's to come. This here is our 2020 LS MT352 52 horsepower tractor. Bought it used. It's got a lot of sticks and stuff on it right now. I need to brush it off, and a nice little, and it's got a backhoe. I haven't taken that off yet because I haven't needed to. So this is one piece of equipment we'll use to dig up stumps and grade in roads and ditches. And this is a 52 horsepower. So it's got a tooth bucket on it. And I have it down here in Georgia right now. Normally this stays in Tennessee, but I have it here because we were going to dig some trenches and such for drainage around this house. This house needs some drainage ditches built, so we're going to do that with the backhoe on this tractor. Let me tell you a quick story about why I got this tractor. So the plan was always to get the TYM 2515. The first time I saw the TYM 2515, I said, that's the tractor I want. And I literally, that was probably about 2017, 2018, maybe 2019, somewhere in there. And so that was always the plan, to get that. So last year we sold our house, we settled all that stuff, got ourselves completely out of debt, and I went and ordered the TYM 2515. I knew that was the tractor I wanted and everything. So I was only ordering the tractor, the grapple, and I ordered the third function from Lane Shark because I thought I was going to buy a Lane Shark and I wanted that, the C-flow mechanism with that. So I ordered my WR long third function from Lane Shark. And then I had the dealership that I bought the TYM, which is Smith's Enterprises. Great dealership, love them. They're awesome. If you're ever needing a tractor, they're in North Carolina, but they'll deliver anywhere. So great people. And I bought that from them, had it delivered. I got rear remotes with it, a grapple, and a bucket. That was the only three things that I got. I knew I was going to put the third function on myself, and I put the rear remotes on myself. I just bought it with them, and they shipped it in a box to me. And then I bought pallet forks. So that were the three things that I had. And slowly I got more stuff. I already had a brush hog with the Ford 3000. So that already had a brush hog on it, which was actually too small for it. It's only a 5-foot brush hog. That tractor really calls for a 6-foot brush hog. And so that'll come into that story here in a second. So that was the plan for a tractor. And then I didn't want to buy a backhoe with the tractor. So I decided that I was going to probably buy a mini excavator. So a Med-Max or another type like that, right? Those were in my price range that I was going to, that's what I had budget for. But I also was going to buy an equipment trailer and was going to buy a few other things to go along with that. So this tractor here was bought new by a friend of ours that were relocating and selling their land and moving back to take care of some family in another state. I didn't even know this was still available. They had sold their land, and the talk with the whole time was that this actually was going with the land. So I didn't even think it was available. So I found out it is available. So not only do I get this tractor, but with this tractor came a 6-foot brush hog from Ironcraft. It's got Titan badging on it, Titan Implements badging, not Titan Attachments. Those are two different companies, by the way. Don't get them confused. So an Ironcraft 6-foot brush hog, a Ironcraft grapple, root grapple. The grapple that I got with the TYM was a rake grapple. And then a 20-foot equipment trailer, and just various other things. Plus it had a backhoe. So when I was talking with Monique about it, and I was like, look, these are the things that I had budgeted and we talked about buying. And if we buy this, basically we're just flipping the cost and saying we're just going to buy this. So now I've got two tractors and twice as big. So this being a 52 horsepower, I wasn't buying another 25 horsepower tractor. If this was just a 25 or a 35 horsepower tractor, I probably wouldn't have done it. So now that I've got a 52 horsepower tractor, and it came with a brush hog, with a grapple, with the bucket, the backhoe, and all that stuff, it just made sense to buy this. So we did. So we bought this and the 20-foot equipment trailer, which has been great. I've had both tractors on it. I've actually had all three tractors on it at some point. The Ford's gone back and forth to Tennessee more than once. And it's a great trailer, put new tires on it, done the maintenance on it, great. This tractor has almost 500 hours on it, so we'll do a service on that soon, probably before I take it back to Tennessee. So here is the TYM 2515 that I bought almost a year ago. So, like I was saying in the last bit, the things that I've added, I put a WR long third function. I got a chainsaw mount, also to protect the hydraulics on this side. I got the cover from ITC Quick Attach, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. And then I've got pallet forks here. I also have the grill guard from ITC Quick Attach. And their pack out plate, which if you're into pack out and you have pack outs, this thing's really cool because I've got another plate that I can put on the LS and I can just move toolboxes, because essentially that toolbox is made for the tractor, no matter what tractor you have. So the other thing that I've done is we replaced the step that comes from TYM. This is a much better, more comfortable step to get in and out of the tractor. That is from ITC also. And then the last thing that I put on was the fuel tank guard. I did order the skid plate, but I do not have the subframe that skid plate was made for. No big deal, but I don't have that. Those are the things that I've done. The rear tires are loaded from the dealership. I've got a hydraulic top link on this one from Vevor. And then I also installed the rear remotes and then put in a tool holder up here and some tool holders for the long tools. Now, we do have now an ATV that is running, but I don't have a side-by-side or anything like that. So this is my point A to point B on either this property or Tennessee. And then this is the old 5-foot brush hog from that we got with the Ford 3000. Also have the Pat's Quick Attach on this tractor. And then I have paired this with a slip clutch adapter from Vevor. I don't brush hog all the time, right? And both the PTO shaft on this and that clutch are both from Vevor. I have found that the PTO shafts from Vevor are just as good as the ones that you buy in Rural King or at Tractor Supply, and a fraction of the cost. So that's why I use that. And if you're looking for PTO shafts like that, I'll put a link in the description to Vevor, because it's a good site. I've had several people on several Facebook groups ask, is it good stuff? I have found it to be good stuff. So this is the other piece of equipment that we will be using to clear in Tennessee. The other thing that I would like to do once I get the box blade and I've got a scraper blade on it, I want to get a hydraulic side link. I think that would be really beneficial. The next things I'd like to show you are just some of the implements and attachments we have that we'll probably use up there, and we'll talk about them. So this is a skid steer quick attach plate that's got a hitch receiver on it and a 3-point hitch that I put a quick hitch, again from Vevor, and I use this mainly to take out our trash cans because the driveway here is pretty long. But my thought too is that at some point I could put the box blade or the scraper blade to back drag, so to speak, carefully, but could still do that. And then I have this ballast box that I built. I try to put everything on pallets so it's easier to move. I don't know what the weight rating is this probably, but it's got 2 ammo cans on it. That's got some chains in it. It's got a chainsaw holder on it. And it's got a 2-inch receiver. And then this here is a grading blade that I got from an auction. It's got a little bend in the end there, but other than that, it's perfectly good. I picked it up for $100, so it was totally worth it. So here is the bucket for the TYM, which of course will fit on the LS. It's just a smaller bucket. And then the LS bucket will fit on the TYM. This has got a smooth edge to it. The LS has got a tooth bucket. I would like to get a big bucket like the LS for smooth, and I'd like to get another bucket to put teeth on for the TYM. That's the right size. And then we put the chain holders and hitch receiver on there. I tried to paint them, but the paint has worn off already within the year. So here's the other piece that I got with the tractor. So this is a Carolina rake grapple. So difference between a root and a rake, right? The rake doesn't have, it has shorter tines on the bottom, whereas the root comes out more. A root grapple comes out more, and more like a bucket style. So I do have that one. That one's in Tennessee right now. So this here is the 6-foot box blade, and it is an Ironcraft. It's got Titan implement badging on it, but it is an Ironcraft that we picked up locally up in Tellico Plains where the land is. And we bought this when we had the Ford. So we bought this early on, and I brought it down here to do some work in the driveway. So this will be going back up to Tennessee very soon. So last but not least, we have a hydraulic tree puller. Now, if you know anything about these, you know that there's a lot of force and hydraulic force that is needed for this. So what I'm going to actually do is, I've used it some on very small trees with the front third function, but that uses a solenoid, switching it to that third function. And these really are not meant for that. So what I'm going to do is make me a set of long hydraulic hoses to connect to this, to connect to the rear remote on the tractor, which one doesn't use a solenoid and has more hydraulic power than the third function. That way we're not messing with the solenoid and making that burn up or anything like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have the hydraulic line crimper that I will show when we make lines up. I need to replace all the lines on the one that is up in Tennessee to that grapple. So we saw a lot today. Saw a lot of the equipment that we're going to use up in Tennessee. Hopefully over the next month, 2 months, we'll start getting things situated up there better and start having some constant content from up there. So if watching somebody build a homestead, a first generation farm from scratch that has never done it, love for you to come along and join us. So if that's something you want to see more of and that you like, I would totally appreciate you liking and subscribing so that more people will find my content and can come along this journey with us. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to probably change 25, 30, maybe even 100 times. But it's going to be fun. We're going to learn something. and we're just going to have a good time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.